In this lesson, we're going to learn how to interpret the remainder when we're doing division. Let's look at the problem. The Lake Okeechobee Trail is 113 miles long. Scott and his family want to hike 9 miles each day on the trail. How many days will Scott and his family hike exactly 9 miles? Now, it asks us to circle the dividend we will use to solve the division problem. Now, the dividend is the amount that we're starting with before we divide, so 113 would be our dividend. Underline the divisor you will use to solve the division problem. The divisor tells us how many groups, or how many in each group, and here it tells us he goes 9 miles each day. So 9 is our divisor. Now, when we solve a division problem with a remainder, the way that we interpret the remainder or use the remainder depends on the situation and the question. So we have to think about what's going on in the problem. Sometimes we may have a problem that requires us to drop the remainder. We don't even need to pay attention to it. So to do that, first we would divide to find the quotient and the remainder. Then we would decide how to use the quotient and remainder to answer the question. Now let's divide here. In this problem, I've got 100 that I need to put into 9 equal groups. Well, I don't have enough hundreds to go into each group, so I'm going to have to break that up into tens, and that will give me 11 tens. So if I have 11 tens that I want to put into 9 groups, how many can I put in each group? You're right, I can only put 1 in each group, which means I'm going to use up 9 of my tens, and I'm going to have 2 left over. Now I only have 2 tens left over. I don't have enough to put 1 in each of the 9 groups, so I need to break them up into 20 ones and add that to the 3 ones that I already had. So now I've got 23 ones that I need to put into 9 groups. Well, if I put 1 in each group, that's going to be 9. If I put 2 ones in each group, that's 18. If I put 3 ones in each group, that would be 27. And that's too high. So, since 9 groups of 1 is 9, 9 groups of 2 would use up 18 of my pieces. 9 groups of 3 would require me to have 27 pieces. And I don't have 27 ones, I only have 23 ones. So it looks like I can only put 2 in each group. That means I'm going to use up 18 of my ones, and I have 5 remaining. Now let's look at our question. The question says, how many days will Scott and his family hike exactly 9 miles? That means, how many days are they going to hike 9 miles and that's all? Well, it looks like they're going to hike exactly 9 miles on 12 days. They won't be to the end of their journey yet because they're still going to have 5 miles to go. But on that last day, they're not going to hike 9 miles. They're going to hike only 5. So let's look at these questions. The blank represents the number of miles they plan to hike each day. Well, I know that that number is 113, and we circled it because that's the dividend. The blank represents the number of days that Scott and his family will hike 9 miles each day. Well, that would be the answer, what we're trying to solve. So that's the quotient. The blank represents the number of miles left over. Oh, that's the remainder. Since the remainder shows that there are not enough miles left over for another 9-mile day, we just drop the remainder. So Scott and his family will hike exactly 9 miles on each of 12 days. We don't need to include the remainder because that doesn't answer our question. Now, what if our question was asked this way? How many days in all will Scott's family need to hike 113 miles? Well, to hike the 5 remaining miles, they're going to need 1 more day. So Scott's family is actually going to need 13 days to hike 113 miles. So if this was our question, the correct answer is 13. It's not 12 remainder 5, and it's not 12. The correct answer would be 13. Now, if Scott's family hikes 9 miles each day, except the last day, how many miles will they hike on the last day? Well, the remainder is 5, and so Scott's family is going to hike 5 miles on the last day. So our answer to this question would not be 12 remainder 5. It wouldn't be 12, it wouldn't be 13. The answer is 5 because the question's asking how many miles will they hike on the last day.